Phoenix1 and Cloud9. What a first game of the day we had between TSM and FlyQuest. So let's keep the action going. Malzahar first ban, Varus as well, who's been finding himself on the ban list, but also going through without finding those bans lately.
Yeah, some teams really highly prioritize it, some don't, but Phoenix1, you know that they would take that Varus every day for Arrow.
Look at his name in the bot lane.
Exactly.
Come on.
Question, though, is usually you will have to ban Rengar against Phoenix1. Do you have to do that against Meteos on Phoenix1?
No. That is a very good point. A change that Fly needs to make in the lineup there, knowing that Rengar may not be a first pick priority now with Meteos in the bunch, but also kind of throwing teams for a loop. Not so much with the Varus, knowing Zig is good on Shen as well. They know to get those priority targets out.
Yeah, we're also seeing a lot of Shen, Maokai bans throughout the ban phase at the very beginning because these are champions that people are okay to blind pick. They'll lose the laning phase and then actually come back in with the team fights. So, Rengar on the table. We still have Kha'Zix, which did fall down the tier list. Jungle not pinched at all, but still have Ryze.
Thought that Bard was locked in for a second. We're like, oh, misclick. There you go. First pick over here to Phoenix1. The Jhin is still there. Like you said, actually, I was mentioning that Ryze is still on the board. But it'd be a little scary to do that first.
Yeah, exactly. Cassiopeia is the counter, and we know Jensen has a good Cassiopeia. They just want to first pick for Arrow in the bottom lane. He has been their premier player so far, very consistent. Even in the losses, Arrow is picking up kills and getting them back in the game.
It's funny because you usually don't see Arrow in the fights. He's far enough off in the fog of war that you only see the arrows coming in. You're like, where is he?
Yeah, people are dying, so it's like, oh, what did Arrow do that game? We didn't really see it. There's a screen away doing it.
So Cloud9 to start things off. Looks like Reaper's going to pick for Jensen. Yeah, goes in. Kha'Zix, easy for Contractz there. If it's not really going to be the Ivern as of late, the team likes to synergize around that sometimes, but he has the choice for the pickup on the bug.
Yeah, and also, since it's one of the champions we saw Meteos playing, they are taking away a little bit of comfort from him. Also on the table would be the Rengar still, so they actually value the Kha'Zix over the Rengar, which is very interesting because most tier lists will put Graves and Rengar above it.
Well, that's the saying, hey, you can have Rengar. We saw that play the other day, you know. we'll take that damage. Contractz locking in Smoothie's Karma, something we see quite a bit from the bot lane of Cloud9.
Yeah.
Now over the side of Phoenix1, Meteos knows he's kind of getting pinched down just a tad.
The Meteos Lee-Sin. So previously he actually played Elise and Kha'Zix, and so the Rengar wasn't open in that series, and he is going to take it here, so we are going to see a Meteos on the Rengar.
They have the potential. It's a good pickup with the Jhin. Obviously, lock one down to be able to take him out of the game if Meteos is fed enough by that point.
Yeah, it's interesting because of the interactions between these two champions. Rengar has usually gotten the better of Kha'Zix, especially when Kha'Zix is trying to hide, even when he uses an R. If Rengar is in his stealth, he will still reveal the Kha'Zix and know the position if he is the closest.
Sniff him out. All right, Zig takes the Rumble. They're actually putting quite a bit of damage into this composition right now. Cloud9, final pick of the first phase.
Yeah, and now what this does for Phoenix1 is they could run a Jace mid, double AD composition, and have the Rumble for the damage up top to actually have magic damage in the composition. So also, Corki on the table too. So this frees them up. They can have multiple different types of damage. Problem though is they don't have a tank on the squad. So for Phoenix1, I'm wondering if this is something where Adrian might pull out the Soraka. We saw Afromu play it yesterday. Is this where Adrian says, I can do that? He's the one who came up with it.
That's true. Also, Jensen saying you might have the Cassiopeia, but we'll look to ban it coming into the next phase if we have the chance.
Yeah,
so
that's
the Ryze is locked in. Yep.
Expect the Cassiopeia to come through next as the ban if you pick up Ryze. Don't reveal too much about your pick ban strategy. Still have 80 carries to pick as well.
Syndra.
Usually you kind of want to get the one that is a given off the table. So the Syndra ban, little curious. We'll see if they actually still continue to ban out the Cassiopeia. I expect Phoenix1, yes, to ban out 80 carries and push Sneaky down the tier list a little bit now that 3 have been taken off, whether picked or banned. And I'll push them onto something like a Caitlyn or Ezreal.
They have the Karma as well, as you could siver through this. We've been seeing a bit of that. Jace locked out to make sure Ryu is not crushing people in mid. very, very highly.
This is interesting because they have actually
good mechanics. Couldn't find the word.
Yeah, it's
High
a lot of
mechanics
going
on his Jace play. Nautilus gets banned out, so we actually see the Cassiopeia go all the way through. It's almost like they want it.
Yeah.
They want to give it to them.
Which is interesting because if they want that matchup, it's one that Ryze does okay in. It's not as hard of a counter pick as it used to be, but also they've been pinching Impact's champion pool here slowly. There are 3 bans towards that top lane.
Impact Gragas.
Impact was somebody who we didn't think was very exploitable, and teams hadn't focused Impact for a long time, and TSM started to. Haunter had a great performance over Impact, and he was back and forth in that series. Yeah. Now they've actually pushed him onto still a tank champion. It's not the Rumble that he was playing the other day and didn't have a great kind of performance on, but still a tank, and we'll see what Impact's able to do here.
Saw a little love for Janna as well.
That's locked in. That's Adrian's Janna.
Adrian is going to hit the Janna up. He can be saving Zig. Also, a lot of damage if they can get it on that last shot. Focus as well. So Shield's actually coming out for a bit of help on the engage, since there really is no tank coming in on this side of Phoenix1. Looking for the lock-in here for Cloud9 to round things out.
Yeah, I'm expecting Cloud9 to go with something like the Braum here. You'll stop the Orianna ball if you put up your shield. Everybody's Hubbard Zach. Everybody's giving the tribute to Meteos.
Well, they need the AD.
And there you go. There you go. Actually, you're right. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
The karma was already locked in, and I blanked.
We just get so excited.
I know.
They start rotating these picks.
Anyway, what I want to talk about is they have the ball combo on Phoenix1. They have the Orianna Rengar. So this is something that Meteos, I believe he has done in the past. So throwing the ball onto him, jumping in, dealing a lot of damage, and we'll see how these team fights work out. Because Phoenix1's composition, very team fight oriented. They have good peel, despite not having a tank, good peel with the Janna for their backline to keep Arrow safe, who has been a primary carry for the team. Whereas Cloud9, a lot of mobility on this squad.
It really is. It's going to be hard to commit to any of these targets. You have shields coming in from Karma. Ezreal will be going away, hopefully. Sneaky, I don't think I've ever seen him Arcane shift in since game number 1 or 2 he had in the NALCS back in the day. That's just... So we are getting into our second match of the day here in the Battle Arena. And we'll have to see if P1 can give Cloud9 another loss. As we said, the bot lane still looked good, but the bot lane for Cloud9 has been pushed all the way down to Ezreal here for Sneaky. Smoothie does get his karma, so we shouldn't see it affected too much, but definitely keeping an eye on it. Jensen picking up that Ryze. First pick rotation through, blind against now Ryu's Orianna. It'll be an interesting matchup. No tank for Phoenix1. How will they get into the fights? Maybe onto the Rift.
It's mostly they're going to try to ulti with Zig and also throw out the ball combination. That would be how they'd want to start them. It's not a surefire way, but it's one that they're going to try to do. It's one you definitely have to avoid as Cloud9.
All right, off and running. Looks like same buys all around. And Sneaky has to go back to that Doran's. Not something you've seen too much since we have all this lethality coming through lately.
Yep. Also, boots for Arrow. We've been seeing this. It started over in Korea. I believe Maha was doing it. And it's a Jhin-specific thing, and also Kog'Maw we saw over there. Buy boots 4 potions, so it's a little bit more in terms of HP, 1 more potion as opposed to bringing the longsword. But on Jhin, the reason you do it specifically here is dodging skill shots, but also how many times have you just been so close to your 4th shot? And you're just like, come here, come back. And it helps you close that distance.
Is that post of him having gun safety on Reddit right now?
Oh,
it's like, I don't agree with the third one. You can't see that his finger is on the trigger. He might be along the side of the gun.
Yeah, he also might not have a separate loop in the gun just for spinning it around.
Who knows?
You know?
Maybe Riot knows gun safety. We'll have to find out. Arrow, definitely quite reckless on his AD carries, but produces good results. And we are into the laning phase. Doesn't look like any deep wards really found their way to the jungle, but they may just realize top starts, I should say, for each side.
Yeah, it is going to be, I believe, a Raptor start here for Meteos.
Oh, you're right.
Start Raptors. I don't know if Orianna will throw him a ball. Ryu will probably throw him a ball, you would hope. Gragas, yeah. Everybody's starting Raptors now. This is the start. And you start W on Kha'Zix. If Zig actually walks up and maybe stole one of those, but he can't because Jensen is right there. Jensen actually played to that side. So Contractz, yes. Beauty of this, you hit level 2 from doing just the small ones, so you actually have another ability to kill the big one. And on Kha'Zix, that's great, because you kill all the little ones, it's isolated. Boom, level up Q, extra damage.
It's been interesting to see Gragas is in the top lane. Some do very well, some do very poorly. It's kind of hard to find that middle ground recently in this pickup. It's been kind of finding its way in.
Yeah, it was mostly used as a counter to Maokai, and it was an old school counter. But I believe when you body slam, you actually push the Rumble, and he goes the other direction for a second. So if his Flame Spitter is on, I believe you avoid a decent amount of the ticks of damage by body slamming him, and it turns him away.
It's quite interesting. We'll make sure you keep an eye on that interaction.
Small things.
And just easy farm here should be for Impact in front of the turret. Nice little denial with how much damage actually Impact was forced to do with barrels previously. So,
oh man,
very good there.
Got none of that.
That's what you get. You kind of you play a champion a lot. I'm not saying he doesn't, but you do those small things where you want to damage during your opponent's CSing, and you do more damage to the wave than you really want to.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the thing when new players are picking up stuff in the top lane, like a Maokai and all this. Sometimes, if they're up against an experienced top laner, you'll get punished so hard by actually just dealing some damage to the wave. You're like, I gotta hit that one minion with a Q, with a barrel, and you hit 5 of them.
Ooh.
He's got smite.
There we go.
Yeah. You hit like 5 of them, and that actually changes the whole total HP of the wave. Then it slowly just gets frozen on you. So, fortunately for Impact, of course, very experienced player, and Zig on the Rumble, you want to keep him under turret. You actually want to keep the Gragas under turret. You get better back timings. You also get to roam a little bit if you want. But I think it's more about the back timings, which we're seeing Zig take one right here.
Might also find a little bit more love from Contractz, which is information for P1, as long as he can keep himself alive. It's like drawing the pressure. You need to be able to get out of it still. Control wards for Zig in the top lane, so he's going to try to do just that. And Meteos' first back looks like his control ward will go actually towards the bottom side so they can start to light up everything.
I would assume bottom side of mid, but oh, Arrow getting a good trade onto both Sneaky and Smoothie there. But out of mana now, so Jhin doesn't have the root or the Q trades available. I assume he'll take a back here. And Adrian doing a good job of actually putting the shield in at the right times. So Adrian, you know, he's a guy who trolls around a little bit by saying that his champion pool is so big, and then we would only see like 2 champions forever, Janna and all that. But hold on, Zig.
Oh, there's that pressure we were talking about just a second ago. Well, you'll think about it, and he does that, but then he picks these champions that nobody wants to ban out, because it almost seems like a waste in any current meta. So you're like, well, no, I don't really want to ban the Soraka just yet, which might start coming around. But that's always what he's trended towards. Yep,
and with the nerfs to both Fire and Aldahar. Oh, he's taking a lot of minion wave damage, by the way.
Baiting in for Meteos. Summoner heal comes out, they turn around on Meteos! Essence Flux. Not enough damage just yet, not really leveled up, so they can't keep firing in the spells.
Yeah, no summoner spells actually used there by anybody except for the heal from Sneaky, so no exhaust, no nothing. Here comes Arrow with the boots. He's going to burst through the shield there. Sneaky out of mana, trying to get a better back for himself. And so Arrow's going to apply pressure here and walk past the minion wave. So they can't pick up those last little ones. But you can see that Sneaky's actually mounted a decent minion wave advantage for himself, or minion CS advantage.
Big push on the lane here.
He's looking to see if they back him. Ooh, he did see that hit, though.
Nicely done.
Yeah, the feedback of the ability when it goes into brush, you will see the tiny stop there. So you see that doesn't actually completely go through the bush.
Only missed one. Should be able to pick up the rest of these as he preps the caster minions. Got it.
Don't think he'll get that one, yeah.
No.
He gave it a nice little tap before, and it's that last one. So those minions start ganging up on it.
Yeah. So you predict the turret, you're like, all right, it should tether to this one. And then it just fires at a siege minion in the back, and you're like, okay.
Oh, yeah. It prioritizes siege minions over most things.
Yep. So tears up calls as well. Kind of a sleepy lane for Sneaky and Smoothie in the bot lane. Shouldn't have too much action down there, so Contractz may just be hovering towards the mid and top side if he's not called down for too much pressure. Level 6 is now in the mid lane as well, so we may see a little love there.
Yeah, level 6 for Zig top as well over Impact, who has a Dark Seal and 2 Dorans, so he's just going for kind of the budget build now off of some strange backs and picking up the second Doran, as well as possibly getting a little bit more AP in the future with the stacks and glory. But ultimately, he will be going tank, I would assume. The build we've been seeing where you start with the Dorans and then eventually get to your Sunfire Cape and your Spirit Visage. I assume Spectre's Cowls in his future.
And then he comes out with a Rabid Dance because he's Impact.
He wants to get Jensen.
Ghost Flash is up. One is used. The follow is there. He puts himself just around the turret for a little bit of distance. Summoner flash, support flash.
And you can see sigh of relief there for Jensen. That was so close. Meteos, I mean, not a lot of junglers have actually put attention onto Jensen in the mid lane because he always seems to have Contractz hanging around his lane. It's been that jungle mid synergy. So if Meteos, having been the jungler alongside Jensen last split, you'll know a little bit of those tendencies. You'll know, hey, this is when he doesn't have his jungler. He's playing like this. Well, might be preying off that a little bit. And we'll see. Maybe he's just going, oh, these are all the times you asked for ganks. These are for all the blues you took.
Meteos. Fighting Kha'Zix. There's just so many. Contractz, like you said, hovering that top side. I wonder if they're going to try to get a gank down here onto Zig. That ultimate was actually just used to keep the minion wave out. He says it's a little quiet on the home front. He reads this actually very nicely.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think Zig is really good at, is just discerning the enemy top laner's pattern of, okay, there is definitely somebody nearby because the Gragas should not be that far forward. He should not be actually hitting that minion. And Arrow actually looking mid. They're trying to get Jensen because he has no flash. He does have Ghost, though.
Opening up. He's on the wrong side of town for this one. Jensen goes down. Very quick movement from P1 to start things off around the 8-minute mark as they send bot lane to mid.
Yep, and they had that whole area on the right side of mid completely control warded, so Arrow knew he could just post up there. Ryu knew that Contractz is top side. Also, Zig was saying that too. So Jensen's naturally going to play to the left side of mid instead of the right because he doesn't have vision there. So they're able to actually just get him and use the shockwave, kill him without the flash.
See this one more time. They've had the bot lane pushed in the whole time. So freely able to roam here.
Yep, the shockwave held on to until that moment. And you could see Jensen was juking a little bit back and forth there. He did have a control ward in the brush and is able to actually just dodge up. Then maybe that helps him, but dodging out of the bush and dodging down does not. But the fact that he had his flash blown, they revisit and they get the kill. Meteos, of course, no assist on it. So, you know, that's the thing. Junglers, we do such hard work. We get flashes blown, we trade flashes, and then we don't get anything for it.
Doesn't that mean you have to work harder?
That means we have to remind our teammates who blew that flash.
Oh, right, okay. Coming up on 10 minutes. Looks like Zig has been having a pretty good time, keeping about a 20 CS lead here in the top lane. Doing a really nice job at keeping his heat gauge up as well.
And you can see Zig is like, why would he do that? There's somebody here. He's like freaking out. But as soon as he sees Contractz on the bottom side, you can see Zig is not playing as far up as he was before. And then as soon as he sees Contractz, who's actually not going to show himself in that bottom side river, so Zig is still playing back, right? So Impact's actually playing Zig a little bit here, saying, you know, Gragas without help would not do that.
Right.
That's the thing. I'm going to act dumb, and it's going to make him back off and be like, this guy's crazy.
But I'm super smart. That's the whole mind game you have to play.
Hard to read.
Usually Impact plays that game by mind gaming the abilities while you're farming and just getting up by a few CS. Here he's got to do it with complete ultimates.
And Meteos checked everything. There's nobody else there.
And now he says, ha-ha, wait, I don't have an ultimate. Goes down under his own turret.
Yep, had used the ultimate. Sometimes you play dumb, and then you just look dumb afterwards. So no ultimate there. They revisit because of the fact that Zig had gotten it out previously. Ultimates from both of them come out. And well played there.
I'm surprised Contractz hasn't really gone down to this bot side and tried to give a little bit of love to Arrow and Adrian, as they have had Sneaky and Smoothie pushed up. There isn't a lot of damage, obviously, to come from stacking a tier and getting a call out, but the pressure.
Yeah, I will say, though, gank assistance from a Karma Ezreal, very low.
Yeah.
And you're ganking a Janna. Like, as a jungler, you see a Jhin, you're like, I want to kill that. But then you see a Janna, and you're like, not worth my time. I'm going mid. You go somewhere else because it's just so annoying. A knock-up, you also have the ultimate to disengage, and Janna's shield just to save the person. It becomes very frustrating to try and get anything out of that lane.
We'll see what Contract's options are. Hovering again towards the top side. Kha'Zix there. Should be able to clear down towards Raptors if he doesn't find anything on the top side. But yet to find a kill here on the end of Cloud9 as they start off against P1.
Yeah, and Cloud9, they start off against P1 down 1,600 gold. And this is because P1 are focusing solo laners. Meteos is going to the solo lane. He's not visiting Arrow and Adrian's lane. He's going to the two lanes that Cloud9 had as some of the most dominant in the NALCS, but then when they went up against TSM, those were the two lanes that cracked. Those were the two lanes where Hauntzer got the better of Impact, Bjergsen got the better of Jensen early on, and then it snowballed from there. So now he's setting up his laners in a pretty similar style, and we talked about Cloud9 give up early advantages. They'll come back off of team fighting, but this game, we'll see what happens because another early deficit for C9.
I do like the variation in the buy from Zig. We've seen it a few times lately when you are going against a bit of an AP-heavy team to go Merc Treads instead of those Sork Boots after you're haunting guys. Also means he can catch up to Impact a little bit faster if he ever gets slowed.
Yeah.
Just a small thing.
Yeah.
Comfort.
Merc Treads for the Ryze as well, because the Ryze is the big thing, right? Like you said.
Also, C9 having good poke in the bot lane, but it's just kind of shielded, hid behind the minions, and P1 is having a field day. Even CS though, so C9 has actually done a very good job at keeping themselves up under that turret. Impact looking to soak up a few now, 116 to what should be about 90 something. Oh. Got him. There you go. Nothing
87.
from Zig yet either. Teleports are up for both top laners. Forward ward in the brush right behind Cloud9, but I don't know if Zig wants to give up his lane just yet with the advantage. A roam from Jensen slowly down the river now.
Yeah, red buff picked up by Meteos. Blue buff is about to come up on his top side. Jensen has roamed down to bot, and that was a weird ultimate from Sneaky to put himself out of mana, and they aren't taking it back here, so they're going to fight. There's the TP.
They have those wards just behind. On to Sneaky, flashes over, Equalizer goes down, he's trying to get himself to the wall with the rest of the mana. No, the team teleports in and gathers together on the ward very nicely in River. Nobody goes down just yet.
Yeah, I don't think P1 was expecting that exact response because Arrow was already back in base. So they were trying to get a pick there. Meteos was just trying to get a quick one and then back out. But Blow Summoner spells for the whole bottom lane of Cloud9. And they don't get anything for it. Arrow, though, Pops Yomu's going mid here, looking for Jensen.
Oh, Ryu just used the ball and protect, so he's got to wait a bit to get that one out. Dissonance is there. Meteos, does he want in? One last hit, the shockwave reaches. Wow, interesting ball movement there. Usually the far move will not make it, but Ryu knew the positioning, and they make it count.
And that was good by Ryu, even though he didn't, or sorry, by Arrow, even though he didn't hit a single shot there, except for the W at the very end. That was crucial because what he did is he threw it and covered an option. He kept throwing it in the same spot where Jensen had to go to the left until it was just, okay, you have to blow flash or something to go to the right. You have to get out that way. So he's forcing him, cutting off that option, making sure this is not a safe path for you to take or else you get slowed. We'll see it here again. He'll actually shoot it straight at the divide where Jensen now has to choose. Boom, right there. Again, and then he has to flash afterwards. Doesn't hit him there, but that still did the damage because Ryu was able to say, Jensen's on this side, I'm throwing the ball there. Because Jensen wants to save his flash for Shockwave. If he has to use it on the curtain call, then the damage will come through and Ryu's able to finish the kill.
Great communication as well to continue going under the turret for Jensen there. Nobody really got left out to dry. P1 firing on all cylinders at the moment, seem to have the upper hand on what Cloud9 could have done in the early game. Still waiting for Cloud9 to charge up. Things are looking good for P1, but we have not seen an explosive fight coming in from Impact and Jensen.
Yeah, it's all picks right now from P1. There was a big collapse that took the teleports away, so I don't know if anything's really going to happen for C9 in a bit here because they love to have Impact involved. Give up the Ocean Drake. The Infernal, though, that's the one that people will be fighting for afterwards. The Ocean, they can kind of give it up. The laning phase is coming to a point where, if this was one that was taken 10 minutes ago, then it's a big deal. So not as huge of an issue if the Drake goes over right now to C9.
Contractz hovering mid. Cloud9 not really dropping a turret just yet, working off of the map movements and trying to find a kill. I like it.
One for the road?
Yeah, I like it.
Sombrero, it's like...
Look at my pretty hat.
That might cost him, though, because now he doesn't have as much threat. It's just like using a stun or something. Now, it's a huge vacuum of power. They said, okay, yep, you used it. Now we can do whatever we want. We can team fight for the next 60 seconds and be completely good.
That's basically an Alt-E with a little bit of an R to the right. So you just kind of hit both buttons on accident. 17 minutes in. We'll see if Cloud9 can actually work on that. The team seems to be giving a little bit more pressure to that mid lane, as we see here again.
Yep.
What happened in the bottom?
Jensen is actually going to ulti out of this gank. Doesn't get CC'd. America. I love that. Every single time.
That's why they play it, right? Soar yourself to safety. Impact letting it come to the turret a little bit closer as he draws in, tries to keep vision on Zig here as teleport's about to come back up.
Yeah, but what just happened? Contractz threw a W. They say to Zig, hey, you're fine up top. You can go ahead and punish Impact more. You saw he wanted to back off because they weren't 100% sure where C9's jungler was. Now Zig gets to play a little bit more aggressive.
Definitely has seemed to affect out of picks and bans how much they hit Sneaky on the AD carries here. Usually a little bit more power from C9 in the bot lane, a little more respect to be paid. Woo! Up and down.
Pours one out, but Contractz is coming up here. Zig actually doesn't have the internal timing of this. Meteos is a little bit late here. He's gonna have to pop the ulti again.
Goes the ultimate down, very nice. That was Impact's entry into the fight, as well as Meteos' ultimate audibly turning Cloud9 away.
Yep, Meteos had to ulti to dissuade them. So they're like, I don't know exactly how close he is, and immediately starts turning back. But Zig has worked down this turret, chip by chip. It's about 1/3, almost 1/4 HP now. Jensen. And they're bringing everybody. They're bringing everybody. Arrow's here too.
Yeah, Jensen's all the way on the bot side. Essence Barrage down the mid lane if they just saw that as well. So should not be easily contested by Cloud9. That turret should fall on the top side, and this is going to be a little bit more pressure here. Second turret for P1. Cloud9 has a lot of money to work with. They just have to take down the turrets to get it.
Yeah, but speaking of money to work with, Zig is going to be a monster. He's 60 CS up at 19 minutes.
He's 1.2K over Impact currently, and you see that 1,800 gold as they give him solo for top as well.
They got the mid turret earlier for the first turret. So he gets solo gold on the top, just a little bit there. It's about 300 less than that first turret. That's still a large chunk of gold.
Gotta feel good.
Yeah, he's about 1,500 up right now. So the Rumble hitting that power spike and hitting that stride where he has so much magic penetration that it doesn't matter if he's up against the tank or if he's up against somebody else in the game. He'll just shred straight through them. And it looks like that's his plan. The Void Staff next after the Leandry's here.
Ready to heat things up. 20-minute mark being signified by Rift Herald. Heading back home until next game. Now we're going to get side lanes, Jensen and Ryu, to stop each other. Ryu probably would like to be with the team, but he's fine cleaning up Jensen here on the bot side. He may actually find a bit more trouble than he was looking for, though.
Yeah, and when you look at the way that the map is split, the AD carry and the support, they'll put them mid lane because it's the centralized portion of the map, and if something happens bot, closer to get to the bot, closer to get to the top. It's strange that you would put non-teleport laners in the bottom lane. But that's just how it is the Janna can now roam around between two lanes and show up. And so can Meteos as well. But that bottom turret is the last one that Phoenix1 needs out of those outer turrets.
So we just saw last game, a little high play on Orianna, that it can still be very effective late game. Zig's still going to be doing damage, but are they on any timer here with Ryze getting bigger on, or Jensen on Ryze? Obviously Sneaky's going to get pretty big, but that becomes pretty hellacious to deal with when Sneaky can just stay on the back line as kind of, you say, a Varus would and dealing damage.
Yeah, and the Ezreal will definitely hurt on a team that has no tank to absorb the Qs. So if Sneaky's on point and actually landing them, then it becomes a big deal. But like you said, the scaling for C9, pretty good. I would say, though, P1 with the Rumble, a Jhin, a Janna to protect those carries,
still matching pretty well.
Like, Ryze is pretty crazy, don't get me wrong. But this could end up being pretty brutal for C9 if this hits the late game. We'll see.
Finally getting some wards in. There has not been much warding going on this game. A few here and there just to keep the lanes safe. And now we're finally getting them to start the engages. The Infernal's the one that's up.
Yep. And you can
that's
see
gonna be what it's about.
Everybody heading that way right now, trying to get control of the area. Zig, he was actually going back and forth between top and mid. But he has the teleport now, so does Impact, so they're just going to go back up top, clear some waves. And right now, Cloud9, it's posturing for a Baron threaten or a top lane dive. Infernal Drake is live, and it's going to just be taken here by Phoenix1 unless Jensen has something to say about it. But Zig is backing off the top. Yep, he's just walking all the way away, and this will be the blue buff trade. Definitely worth.
Almost a quick fight between Sneaky and Arrow in the mid lane. Sneaky running around with about 1,500 gold right now, so Cloud9 probably not wanting to fight right away. Before he can go spend that and clean up a few more waves. P1 doing a nice job now controlling the map, getting themselves back up to make sure Cloud9 can't pressure that dive.
Yeah, interesting that P1 would actually stay mid-focused after that because they already have the mid-turret down. It's that bottom tier 1 that they need to work on a little. And they had inside track to bottom right after that play. So they actually could have gone Infernal Drake to bottom to maybe bottom turret, but they risked giving up the Baron because they didn't have any vision of it anymore. So Cloud9 had actually prevented that from happening because by the moves of which you have vision, the possibility of the Baron is too threatening.
So now Impact to the bot side, keep an eye on Jensen. So rotate and clear the top. Still no forward wards, waiting for one of these teleports to come in big. Obviously, C9's not going to hit an objective with Zig and how big he is at the moment.
Exactly, but what Zig's going to do is Zig is going to go to the bottom lane now with the teleport, match Impact. And so it's top lane focus now. It's mid-tier 2, and it's also Baron is in the sights for P1, whereas C9, they're still trying to just catch these waves, farm up a little bit, catch up in these CS numbers, and get to a point where maybe they could take a fight, because their composition is a little bit more team fighty for themselves. Not so much like pick-oriented or high CC or anything like that. There is pick and like decent mobility for them, and that's their strength. Well, you left him! But it doesn't matter.
Ulti top, a few defensive wards. Let Cloud9 know what the idea of P1 is. So you can see Cloud9 really respecting what's happening in this game here. They haven't had the upper hand just about all game.
That's a lot of damage.
Getting squished down by Baron. He may need to go heal.
Yep, the fact that Jensen got out of what was 4 people, I believe, allocated to the top total. Sneaky gets to push mid. And get some turret damage there, so C9 are slowly cracking that. Impact's fighting him pretty recklessly. Actually, Impact loses this pretty hard. Go home, Gragas, you're drunk!
It sure looks like it. Impact has been trying to hit that. And it's one of the...
He throws
it to the left. Impact kind of chooses correctly there. I thought it was going to be between the turret. Meteos now coming in to see if he can finish things up. And you can see it right on the side. Body slams in to deny. This could be Meteos going down now. If he tanks up enough, gets the heal through the roar. And gets himself to safety.
Yep. And that's how Phoenix1 will crack that bottom tier 1 turret, continue to push here, but you have to keep the rest of your map safe because you showed your jungler bottom side. Meteos used the ultimate. He doesn't have a way to get to Baron quickly. Don't think Cloud9 actually have a way to threaten it, though. With the state that the game is in, don't think P1 really have to respect that too much. They do have to respect this top lane turret, though.
Wow.
That's a great push from P1.
Making strides as they take down the second tier, opening up the map completely. And now Contractz in. Jensen try to answer back in the top lane. We'll see if they can get some wards through this side of the jungle. Maybe start to dominate one side of the map for themselves.
And that bottom side now just completely open. P1 can shove bottom wave past the tier 2 and just have all 5 group mid or group towards the Baron. They don't always have to split. And yeah, that's what I was talking about. When Sneaky starts getting those damage items, he gets to the point where there's nobody to sit in front of the queues and just absorb the shots from this Ezreal.
Muramana finished actually quite a bit ago, around 23 minutes. Ryu's shockwaves not on point this game, missing the kill there on Sneaky. He will get out. And it seems like back and forth, nobody goes down on that one. Little finger fumble-rooski there.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them this game. And looking at Impact, he had actually said that he was very disappointed in his level of play in the last few days here. And it just looks like another day where Impact is just not completely on it. And I know he's frustrated by it. And the player cams after they lost to TSM, he was visibly frustrated with himself.
I mean, in his play here, you can almost see, not like agitation. He has the body slam when Meteos came in, so those kind of quick hits he's thinking about. But we've seen him miss the ult a few times, and that change has really thrown people for a loop that it still travels through the air before hitting its target, and Zig has been able to take advantage and scrap shield out of most of those.
Yeah, and P1 targeted him pretty heavily in the pick ban phase with the Maokai. C9 banned away the Shen, and then P1 also returned with the Nautilus there. So Poppy would be what you would think you'd want to play, but he goes for the Gragas here. It's a little bit, kind of, I wouldn't say off meta, but it's still a top laner that's seen less often.
Nice dodge. Captive audience almost locking Smoothie down. As Arrow sets up traps everywhere. You can actually see one off to his left there, making sure the choke points are his and the team's to engage in.
Yeah, and you can see just that line of vision on the minimap from P1. They have control wards even in the middle of mid lane, up past where Baron is, and then they are actually putting their physical bodies for vision towards where the Infernal Drake is coming up. And this would be Infernal Drake number 2 for P1.
And Zig must be happy.
He's got run down, too.
That outer turret line goes down, and it means he gets to fight more in the jungle. And Equalizer can burn people down already trying to cut him. Yep.
He gets to throw down flank ultimates. These are the surprising ultimates. These are the ones that Rumbles throw down, and you go, oh my god!
2 pings there. Question mark onto Zig. And they have guessed correctly.
Oh, choke point! There it is!
Over the wall! Just missing another one, but he causes the flash from Cloud9, and this is where they continue the engage. Curtain call. Oh! Start dropping. He takes down Smoothie. Meteos bounced back by Impact's ultimate as he throws down the cask, and he's trying to get himself out alive.
Adrian?
Almost on the chase. True shot barrage over the wall as Adrian lives, and they can't seem to get the rest of the hits. Jensen does find Meteos and has the flank, but Vision is on. They're going to slow this one down as both teams have very low members. That's the deadly flourish. Just missing Contractz.
Ooh, that barely missed him too. But that means C9 actually may pick this one up. Orianna Shockwave, few seconds off a cooldown. If they're able to delay this, Impact's able to stall it, they'll have it back up. And no, that's going to be C9 getting away with an Infernal Drake that they had no rights getting.
Impact, big task there actually to blow everybody back off of what could have been 2 more dead members of Cloud9. So having trouble in top lane, still doing what he needs for the team when the time comes. And they're going to be able to clean this up now. Got to worry about that top wave, but they now have Jensen pushing the bot.
Yeah, and C9, that actually gives them a little bit of a rubber band here to get back into the game. They get the bottom turret, they get the Infernal Drake, they get a kill on top of it. That should have been a fight that P1 disengage after the flashes away from the equalizers. Keep the Orianna ultimate. I believe it was actually used there too as a kind of a double whammy. But I think that was a little bit too hard of a layer there. There's the ultimate again.
Meteos onto Smoothie. He is getting cooked. Another body slam into Meteos. Impact coming up big one more time and stays alive on this run. Jensen, Railboard gets popped up. He goes down. Arrow finalizes that kill. All 5 members of P1 are firing back now. As you can see the assist on that kill sheet. 7-1. Cloud9 tries to hit, and P1 hits back harder.
Yeah, what's the call from P1 here? Is it Baron? Impact does have teleport. Jensen doesn't have his ultimate and is down for 35 seconds. They do have Contractz, though. Might have to go for the steal. The blast cone's still up. There's the TP. They hit Contractz. Adrian's knocking him back.
Damage. Adrian may go down here trying to get himself out. He'll live, actually. And P1 make it out with Baron 30 minutes in.
That's the bro support right there. He's the one doing all the work. That's the Alistar that's going to knock people out of the pit so they can't contest. Also, the Janna, same thing there. Look at that. Right on top of Smoothie and Sneaky, but Smoothie gets locked up. I don't even think Meteos gets an assist on that. I believe that's a Jhin and also a Rumble kill. And then Jensen, too far forward, looking for a flank there, but it's not the Orianna. He's not that large, impactful team fight. He needs a few seconds to actually warm himself up. How's that Ryze? Get 2 E's off or a full combo on a single person. If other people start taking shots for you, start jumping in front of those Qs, it's not good.
Cloud9 definitely a bit of hesitation, as they should, but most of these engages are coming with their backs turned, and P1 is saying, all right, run them down. Stuns are going to come in as they scatter, and we just saw Smoothie basically lost his life on the equalizer. And props to Zig this game for putting up a very nice Rumble showing.
Yeah. Zig, he's a guy that a lot of people overlook and say, you know, he's just somebody they relegate to tanks. He's not a top laner that's notable at all, but Zig sees himself as a carry player, and when they allow him to go off, he does have that ability. P1 are fighting 4v5 though.
They call the cask out.
Oh. Zig up top, still pushing though.
They're walking over a lot of wards in the jungle, so C9 knows not to fully engage onto this one. Respect called to the top side here as Zig's able to push
Ryze
in.
ulti.
335 to 229 for CS and him. They're finally going to try to cut him down. And they do. First death for Zig in the game. 2-1 and 3, but mid lane's getting hit up by P1. Cloud9 is just trying to adapt to what's happening, but then look over their shoulder and see more is falling.
Yeah, they'll get 2 turrets here, and that's a trade that I think you take any day of the week. You trade your top laner. Doesn't even have like shutdown gold on him either. It's just 2 and 1 there for 2 turrets. Yeah, definitely take that. 4 people go through. This is a 5-man attempt onto Zig. Zig with the ulti does enough damage. Flame Spitter in the Zhonya's at the start. And that forces multiple people back so they can't immediately reinforce mid lane. And Zig played that so well.
8,000 gold lead currently here looking for P1.
Yep, and Zig almost 100 CS up over Impact right now.
Oh, Impact's catching up. He just was.
No,
it's going back and forth. He's saying no.
Catching a wave.
Flame Horizon. All right, take it down. Flame Horizon again. Take it down.
90 at the moment.
What is that? 13,700 to
Yeah.
10-4. Alone 3K gold sits on Zig. It's above his opponent. And right now he's going to go ahead and just hang out by himself in the lane. He says, I need no help. I'll probably kill everybody that comes to play.
Yep, and that's what you want from a top laner. You want him to be so fed to the point that you camp him early. He's all grown up. He's a big baby top laner. And then you can leave him alone because he's a big boy now. And then you go do and help everybody else.
Right. He doesn't have too much vision on his way up. He doesn't have to really worry about it. Rule of thumb, don't go across the river without vision, so we'll probably see him now head down and put that in. Great game starting off from P1, but Cloud9, we question, would the momentum kind of be cut with their loss yesterday? And it seems like they haven't really been able to find ground in this game. It's just not happening for them.
Yeah, Cloud9 off to an early deficit, and P1 were definitely taking advantage of that. They had the top lane carry. The CS was honestly played quite well in that top lane. It's a matchup that Gragas will lose,
right?
But you're banking on those team fights. Few picks from P1, great attention from Meteos and Arrow on mid lane. They all kind of ganged up on Jensen, and so they are taxing him so hard. In losses so far that C9 has had, Jensen actually averages the least deaths and losses out of any player in the NALCS at 1.7. And he's never had more than 4 this split.
Whoa, Contractz.
Oh, he's caught up.
He could be going down here. First shot, which means the next or follow-up just to the right. He's going to find Smoothie. That's the hit coming in from Meteos. He knows the team's going to come up behind as he draws the exhaust. Well, a few last shots. Zephyr onto Jensen to slow him down so he can't get in and out of the fight. And they're going to be on the inhibitor. 35 minutes, P1 making this one look methodical, and they have all the disengage, even if they do get hit from Adrian. And there's the equalizer from Zig! Jensen gets burned down. P1 from the start in the lead on this one. May get themselves in a bit of trouble as they don't have too many minions, but they're trying to play it smart with 3 members of Cloud9 down.
Yeah, they don't have to go for the Elder Dragon. Ooh, Sneaky does pick up a kill on Meteos, though. Meme Lord down!
That's all he wanted, right? Sneaky shifts out of that, gets himself to safety, but cooked up by Zig almost in the last second. Deathfire not going to hit him, and he gets healed up on the fountain.
There's a possible counter here. There's 4 up for Cloud9, 3 down for P1 for 30 seconds minimum on the next person. That could be Elder Drake here.
We'll see where they head. They do have bot lane, won't need too much attention yet as it's not even at super minions, and their top lane is pushing. So they could be in a good position here with 13 seconds on Jensen to still squeeze out this Elder Drake. Contractz should have the damage, impact and tank.
Yeah, this is going to be real rough for P1. Looks like they're backing. They have to seed this over, and that'll put a stopper on them. Give C9 a little bit of time to start taking objectives.
That's why you grab those 2 Drakes early.
Yep, and also this Elder Dragon would overlap with the Baron timer of a minute. So you'll be able to take the Baron after this. C9 might be back in this game.
P1 a little ahead of themselves without minions in the base. Been looking good all game. Still looking quite decent. Nothing really changed there. But closing the game out just got a little bit harder. We'll see this again.
Yeah, here P1 have no minion wave. It's very far away until they have any minions that are going to help them out here. Equalizer came across, but this is where P1 need to just stop, respect Sneaky. Meteos, I don't know what you're doing. You're taking a turret shot and an E. Minion wave is here. They did it. Now it's time to, okay. All right, Ryu. Okay, they got him. Oh, wait, no, they don't got him. Where Elder Dragon could have been what P1 were going for there. Their minion wave was too far away, and nobody on the team had recognized that, and they failed to notice that that was going to be what it was. See, 91% apparently.
9 on each side, 9% for P1, but they are looking to make better fight than that vote. The gold lead closing ever so slowly, but it's starting to mean less and less as these core items go into the inventories of Cloud9 and they hit their breakpoints.
And they have this Elder Dragon, so as people are hitting 6 items, the Fed members are there, people hitting 5 items at this point, this Elder Dragon gives them that edge. They could start up the Baron. They have to approach the fight appropriately, though, both as Cloud9 and P1. Cloud9 have a few seconds left, about a minute to work with here for baiting the dragon, or sorry, baiting the Baron and using the dragon. Woo. Oh, he didn't hit anything there.
Shh, be very quiet.
Oh, they're hunting Ziggs.
Do they find a Zig? Just on the other side as well, they try to do the pincer move on P1. Zanya's focused on the Zig after it comes off. True Shot Barrage and missed it right behind it. Adrian falls. He only gets an ult out for a second. Cloud9 flips the switch, and now they have control of the game.
Yep, Meteos, though, still alive on the backside, was invisible there. All right. What's he doing? All right, he's backing. Impact's looking for him. The Elder Dragon, P1 failed to recognize the Elder Dragon was on the table. They didn't have the resources to end the game there just yet. They got too antsy, and that was a big throw, and C9 are back in this.
We talk about big deficits in the early game. That 8,000 is one of the bigger ones we have seen. And let's see the engage here again.
Yeah, this is, he doesn't hit anybody with the W. Zig walks up, and this is an ulti where he doesn't know where to go. He's still got people coming after him. Gets rooted. Zonya's redemption comes down, but Adrian is not too far forward. Meteos is off on the left side, and to be quite honest, that fight actually should have started off with Meteos ulting for vision of the nearest person. Instead, he's on the back left flank, checking for Baron, a little bit out of sync with the rest of P1, but as a substitute, they've already gotten so far against Cloud9 that that's one of the big mistakes we're seeing. It's honestly not that bad for a substitution.
Yep.
It's a big mistake, though, here.
Small thing, especially later in the game.
Yeah, speaking of later in the game, Impact, being a bro, gets Knight's Vow for Sneaky. So now, taking about 12% of his damage, but healing for the damage that Sneaky is doing. So when you're looking at a composition that has 2 threats like that, and Contractz isn't really like huge or anything, you have Jensen, you have Sneaky, you have these 2 high damage dealers, you can keep using Knight's Vow between those 2, help keep them alive. As a tank, like your whole existence as a tank is to help keep them alive. So when you hit the late game, it's one of those items that you should be purchasing near the end of your build. Early on, it can get you killed because you don't have the stats to back it up. But this is the point that you should do it. Jensen shoving bot.
A Nexus turret down only a few minutes ago, and now back to the 4-1 split with Cloud9 in favor of the map. Jensen controlling bot as the team yo-yos in mid.
Yeah, and we're about to see the gold be equalized here. This was a game where P1 very far ahead.
Wow.
Basically breathing down the neck of Cloud9's Nexus, so close to ending the game.
And a patient, very patient bot lane. We said to be a little sleepy. 381 to 349. Sneaky, although under his turret with Smoothie the whole time, was able to keep that CS up and make sure he was stacking that Muramana, which has picked up a few kills, staving off that P1 entry for a win. In goes Meteos, on to Sneaky, that target getting hit very hard. Smoothie gives Sneaky everything he has, and Impact is the one in the front. He goes down, that's a Guardian Angel.
Jensen
kill him twice, and where will Jensen go? They figure out he's there.
Look for
Ziggs almost goes down immediately. Has to pull out. The team is calling no fight, but Contractz says go in, draw more out. And this is gonna be a turret for C9, looking for an inhibitor turret in both mid and bot.
Man, C9 with that frontline tank absorbing so much in terms of abilities. Jensen gets the flank off, does about 1,000 damage with the Q to Zig. And that's where you're thinking, man, I even talked about it. I was like, all right, I think the scaling's a little bit better for P1 here. in damage, but those fights are so much harder to execute with a full damage composition and nobody to really actually tank up skill shots, tank up Ryze Qs. And now they're feeling that, and now C9 are in the lead.
Patiently waiting for the air or the big play. Right now, this is what P1's waiting for. Little free gold in their pocket as they'll be able to get the turret, but nothing to be worked off of this. If they get up and out of the base, they got to push up the waves.
And this right here is Meteos actually just zoning, saying, I see you, Contractz, I see your low HP, so Contractz is going to try to heal up a bit. They're going to jump. Nope.
Whoa!
Impact's in. Frontliner's gone.
3v1 on the backside. Meteos actually almost coming up with big kills there. He tries to hover himself on the equalizer. And this is where they needed to find the rumble fight in the jungle. Sneaky Smoothie down. They look for impact. And Jensen Contractz holding hands, trying to win this fight. It looks good. Jensen could get in for some kills, but they would focus him too fast.
Yeah, they're like, screw Jensen, go mid. He could kill us. They're going to actually probably trade inhibitors here. Maybe two, because that top lane, we'll see.
They have quite a wave after they get this. Inhibitor's going to be down. They have the siege wave. They're going to be going for the base race on both sides. Contractz tries to get in, and these are going to be the members for C9. Contractz, Jensen. One Nexus turn on their side. They're getting their minions are in.
What's Cloud9 doing? Ryu's there.
Ryu's going to be able to stop it. The call from Cloud9 costing them the game. Nexus going down in favor of P1. What a back and forth. And P1 are going to come out with the game 1 win of the series.
You can see it on their faces. A desperate call from both teams, because that was neck and neck.
It's more of a bluff call. They won't do it, right? It wasn't the we can beat them. I think they realized the numbers advantage. But P1 said, all right, yeah, we read the same thing. And we see it as a victory.
Insane, though, in terms of the calls from both teams. P1, they messed up a really big call. That could have been the game there. That could have been Elder Dragon going over to P1. Then they can just reset. They'll have it for Baron. Then they can end the game. Big macro mistake there. They get punished, even just like over greedy. I think they were way too greedy for that kill on Sneaky. If they kill Sneaky, it's a different story. But hindsight's 20/20.
In a way, doesn't it feel good when going through and playing one of the top teams in the league, if not obviously currently the best right now, that may have had a loss, to know that that was your glaring mistake? You can pull that right out and say, don't do that again. It wasn't multiple mistakes. That was just one they can say, don't do it.
Yeah, that gold graph is going to be like, woo! It's going to go back up because there's like a 10K point for Phoenix1 where they are ahead.
Yeah.
But if you're running with a substitution and you're like, all right, we found out Cloud9 solo laners, that's where we should punish them, pick ban, and camp them, well, then that seems like a formula that started winning them the early game.
Yes, it did. So for more on that slugfest between P1 and Cloud9, let's send it to the analysts.
Thank you very much.